Don't focus on how you can rent out this small little section of your duplex, lot to make $100 extra a month. Focus on bigger and better deals that support all the expenses and debt and give you cash flow and appreciation. And don't think small. If you can't go out and do these deals on your own, reach out to us. We'd love to partner with you. We'd love to look at the deals with you, help you get the deal done. But don't think small. Don't limit yourself. And if you want to grow really big and scale and own a big portfolio, then you need to start thinking bigger. Hello and welcome back to the Real Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Coffman. Thank you for joining. Thank you for continuing to come back and view these episodes. The sole purpose of doing these for you guys is to hopefully help you with real estate investing, with business, and anything you're looking to accomplish. So share this with a friend. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already so that you continue to get notified as we put more content out. We do a lot more than just these podcasts. We also have lives that we put on, videos where I'm breaking down deals, a lot of education. We stream a lot of stuff to this channel. So if you're interested in real estate investing, if you're interested in business, if you're interested in growing these things, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. All right, so today we're going to be talking about maximizing your profit on deals that you're buying, whether it's, residential properties or commercial properties. What types of deals should you be buying? And honestly, it's the same thing regardless of what you're looking at. And I believe we've talked about this before, but there are key fundamentals that you should follow. And if you follow these key fundamentals, then you'll always do good investing in real estate. So, we could talk about specifics of, cutting expenses, increasing income. One of our fourplexes right now, due to interest rates, it doesn't cash flow. The fourplex here in Round Rock, it doesn't cash flow. Each unit's rented out for about $1,600 a month. So what's that? 6,400. Yeah, 32, 64, $6,400 a month for all the tenants. Is that right? Sounds right. 6,400. The main thing to figure out and to ensure that you always are maximizing your ROI is to always keep a calculator handy. 6,400 divided by 4, that's right, 1,600. So each unit's rented out for $1,600. We bought it for like $575 3 years ago or so. We renovated all the units. It's a really nice property in a good location. But the cost of debt today, we bought it with a hard money loan. And we had to refinance out, and we have a ton of equity in it. But the cost of debt today, it's like probably a 8.75% interest rate, taxes, insurance, management, maintenance, vacancy, all the things that are involved with owning rental properties. This thing does not cash flow. So our partner Doreen brought up, maybe we rent out this portion of it for someone to pay, a couple $100 a month to park a trailer there or something. And while that won't bring it to cash flow positive, it will help out with the income. So, we could dive deep into little things like that. But to be very honest with you, I don't think you should approach investing that way. If you have to figure out on a property how to make an extra $200 by sectioning off this part of the parking lot in order for the deal to maybe work or get you to break even, then don't buy the deal. You need to find deals that make enough money to support all the expenses that are involved with owning these properties, because there's a lot of them, and I don't think people take all this into consideration. You have property managers, you have vacancy, you have leasing commissions, you have utilities when the units are vacant, you have maintenance requests, you have make-ready expenses, you have insurance, you have property taxes, and other things, and that's just the operations of the rental property. Now, what you also are going to have, and like the fourplex, we have to pay somebody to mow the lawn because it's, shared thing there. So there's all those different expenses that you're going to have to take into consideration when trying to figure out if your deal is going to cash flow or not. But then there's other expenses that people don't consider. You also are going to have bookkeeping expenses unless you're doing the books yourself. And unless you're an accountant or a bookkeeper, I'd say you probably should not do that. Even on very simple properties, if you're looking to grow and scale, you need to start setting up the system to facilitate doing these things, especially if you're trying to be a passive investor. Because if you're doing all this work, if you're managing the property, if you're doing the maintenance requests, if you are the one mowing the lawn, if you're the one doing the bookkeeping, this is not a passive investment, right? This is a very active investment from you. So if you want to grow a large portfolio and if you want to scale, you need to hire other people to do these things. And the property should be able to sustain all the work that's involved and all the costs and expenses that are involved in owning this property. But you're going to have a bookkeeping expense, and then you're also going to have a CPA expense to file your taxes for you per this rental property. Like ours are all in LLCs. So we have tons of different tax returns that need to be done. We have tons of different sets of books that need to be done. And these are all costs that are involved in owning the properties. And then, of course, those are just expenses. Then you have your debt expense. So it really just comes back to what your goals are. If you want to own one house a year for the next 10 years, and by the end of those 10 years, you have a portfolio of 10 rental properties, I don't think that is a bad strategy. But I do think that you should prepare yourself for what's involved in owning those. Because if you have debt on them, you're pretty much not going to cash flow. And if you do cash flow a little bit on those single family houses, just expect it to be gone the next time an AC unit goes out, the next time your water heater goes out, your tenant moves out and you have to do a make ready. Your tenant moves out and the property is vacant for 60 days longer than you expected it to. Boom. All your cash flow is gone. All of these expenses. But you will, if you are buying in a good market and in a good location and you're buying a good asset, the property will appreciate. So you will gain that appreciation, but you should not expect to retire from that cash flow, especially within those 10 years. I think that by the time your debt is paid off and you have a portfolio of 10 houses that are owned free and clear, I do believe that you will have some cash flow. I don't know, how much that will, sustain you, because you're going to have about, let's just call it 50% plus in operating expenses. And let's say at the end of the 10 years, you have 10 houses, each rented out for, I don't know, let's call it $2,200. This is a good market. So that's $22,000 a month in rental income. You are going to have some vacancy. So let's factor in like 10% vacancy. Then you're going to have some operating expenses. So let's take away 50% of that and then multiply that by 12. By the end of those 10 years, if you owned them free and clear and they're each rented out for about $2,200 a month, you might have near $120,000 worth of passive income after your vacancy, your expenses, and everything that's involved. So, you would think that after 10 years of putting in all that work and making these investments, you'd be getting more cash flow than that. But $100,000 in cash flow is not bad. But that's after years and years of ownership, of paying all your debt off, owning them free and clear. If they're in that scenario, that's about how much you would keep. So just factor that in, right? Because along those 10 years where you still do have debt, you're not going to have cash flow. But hopefully by the end of that, you've gained a lot in appreciation, and you could sell them. You could pull the equity out, do whatever you need to continue to, multiply that investment. But I've learned over buying a ton of these different properties that we're not going to get cash flow. And even buying in a good market, like we bought in Austin and Round Rock and the Austin MSA, really great market to own real estate. Tons of jobs coming here, tons of demand, low inventory, beautiful city. Everybody wants to be in Austin. But the only thing we gained from buying all those smaller deals was the appreciation. And they took really good care of us, but they do not make money every month especially with debt where it's at today. So you should have the proper expectations there. And if you haven't started your real estate investing journey, I would urge you to really think about what your goal is and what you want to accomplish, and then decide what to go out and attack based on that. Because if your goal is to have $100,000 worth of cash flow a month, for example, then do not go buy single family homes, and do not buy one a year. And if you are going to own a ton of single family homes, then you need a really, really great system. You probably are going to want some sort of in-house management team. You're going to need a good amount of staff, and it's going to be a full-fledged business that you're overseeing in order to manage that portfolio versus being a passive investment for you. Talk to anybody who owns a ton of single family homes and see if they want to keep buying those, or they'd rather get rid of all those and go buy bigger assets, such as 100-unit apartment complexes, or retail, or RV resorts, or industrial, or things like that. And I guarantee you their answer is that they would rather get rid of all those and move into to bigger and better assets, because those bigger and better assets also have the appreciation, but they also make enough income to be able to support all the expenses and still have cash flow left over after your debt. So if you really want to grow big and buy a bunch of real estate, I would say don't do what we did. Don't do what we did. And the reason we did that is we were thinking too small. So I'm trying to encourage you to not think small. You don't have to buy one house, then buy a duplex, then buy a triplex, then buy a fourplex, then buy four fourplexes, and then buy a 5-unit, and then buy an 8-unit. You don't have to, take the step up the ladder like that. You could jump straight into buying a 32-unit apartment complex. Now, you may not have all the capital right now to do that, but you go partner with somebody. You send it to us. We'll partner with you. And I guarantee that you'll do better doing that than, doing it one by one. And I'm just trying to encourage you to think bigger. Don't limit yourself. You don't have to start off with single family homes. You can jump straight to the bigger and better deals, but you might need some partners. And that's a good thing. Real estate's a team sport. You're going to need partners anyways. So if you want to grow and scale big. So maximizing ROI depends on how you're calculating that. If your interest is cash flow, probably stay away from the single family homes or the smaller stuff unless you're buying them cash and you have zero debt on them. If you want cash flow and appreciation, go buy undervalued commercial assets that you can add value to and force that appreciation and get cash flow along the way. But think big, don't think small, don't limit yourself because you don't have to do what we did. And I talked to many people, like right now we have this RV resort that we're closing on. We raised $2 million for it, including our own capital that we put into the deal. It's a $7.1 million deal, seller financed, $1.4 million down. We're going to add some value to the property by increasing the rents, bringing some showers there, patio furniture, add some parking, bring in better Wi-Fi. Thank you, Elon Musk. And we're going to raise the rents within the first few months from $500 to $650. And when we do that on 109 slots and we raise all the rents $150, we have just created $2.6 million worth of value like that in 3 months. The single family home would never, it'll never do that. I don't know, it may take you 100 years in order to accomplish that, 50 years, something like that. But in 3 months, we're going to create $2.6 million worth of value for our partners, our investors, for everybody together who invested in this deal, simply by raising the rents on the existing slots. Then what we're going to do is facilitate the expansion plan, phase 2 of adding the additional slots. So we're going to be able to add a minimum of 26 additional slots once we expand the septic system. Those additional 26 slots once added at 650. Those 26 additional slots at 650 rents will add an additional like $2.8 million worth of value. So hopefully within the first 12 months, we will have added, close to $5.5 million worth of value to this property. Just like that, within 12 months, by raising the rents, adding the additional slots, and then the rents aren't going to stay flat for years. They're going to get raised every single year, maybe a couple times a year. And the 650 rent mark that we're bumping them to is not that high. I mean, we could probably move them much higher. But if the tenants wanted to leave somewhere else, we have the nicest park in this entire area of RV parks. So if the tenants wanted to leave somewhere else, they would have to pay an equal amount and or more for a much less nicer park. This one is all concrete. It's got palm trees. It's got pickleball pool, hot tub, laundry on site, showers. This is a really nice facility and it has a really good community there. So my point in saying that is that these are the types of deals that if you're wanting to grow big and scale, that you should be attacking versus looking at some single family home that is not going to do much for you. Even if you only have $10,000, go find the big deals and bring them to us and partner with us and get in on this big deal. Your smaller ownership of this bigger deal will be worth way more and do way more for you than your 100% ownership of this single family house. I guarantee it. And I'm only telling you this from experience. So depending upon what your goal is, don't think small, think big. And some of our investors on this deal, I was talking to one of them and, she was like, well, I've got this money, I'm trying to maximize it. I want to, maximize this money, right? Like, should I just go buy a house and then, own 100% of that? And I was like, you could, but don't do what we did. And I'm telling you that, especially if your goal is to be a passive investor, even if you had 10 of these things, it's not passive. It is going to suck the money from you. And you will get appreciation. But right now, if you went out and took that $100,000 and invested it, put 25% down on a $400,000 house and got 75% of that loan to you, you would lose money every month and you might gain some appreciation over the next 3 years, but I guarantee you're not going to get a 3x, it's not going to be worth $700,000 in the next 3 to 5 years. Therefore, tripling your money that you're putting into it. But even though you own a smaller percentage of this big RV deal, you're going to get paid every single month. It's going to be truly passive for you. You're not going to have to lift a single finger except to click inside your portal and see how much money we're sending you. It's truly passive. You're going to get paid every month, and you're going to be able to ride, with us on all the stuff that we're doing actively to find these deals. We look at thousands and thousands of deals. This deal is an amazing deal. The way that we structured it with seller financing and everything involved and the way that it's set up, I can pretty much guarantee you're not going to go out there and find these deals. This is what we do all day long. This is what everybody else does all day long. So if you plan on looking for deals for like an hour every couple of days, you're not going to see these. These are the result of years and years and years of working 24/7 to find these deals. So, you just have to weigh what makes most sense, right? And if you're going to make more money investing with partners and with other people in these bigger deals than you would buying this house that you own 100% of, I would recommend doing it with the partners if you trust and like working with these people. Because I wouldn't recommend it if you don't trust them, you don't like working with them, and the emotional tie to partnerships and being in a partnership that you don't want to be in could be worse than the single family house. But that's my advice. There wasn't anything specific on increasing your ROI because I think it's really not important. I think what you should focus on is not, again, Don't focus on how you can rent out this small little section of your duplex, lot to make $100 extra a month. Don't focus on that. Throw those investment strategies to the side. Focus on bigger and better deals that support all the expenses and debt and give you cash flow and appreciation. And don't think small. If you can't go out and do these deals on your own, then partner up with people. Reach out to us. We'd love to partner with you. We'd love to look at the deals with you, help you get the deal done, and do them together. But don't think small. Don't limit yourself. And if you want to grow really big and scale and own a big portfolio, then you need to start thinking bigger. But that's all I got today. If you have anything that you'd like to discuss, submit it to info@trehomes.com. This is being released Friday, April 5th. Tomorrow, we're doing a commercial real estate investing workshop. If you want to learn how to find these deals, how to put these deals together, what we're looking for, see us analyze deals live, us analyze a deal with you live, I'm going to be spending about 5 hours plus with you live tomorrow on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 or 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Go to treuniversity.com/CRE and register. I'm going to send you an email with the link to join. I'll see you tomorrow. Spend the whole day with you, and we will see you hopefully tomorrow. But if not, we'll see you next week.